Welcome back, everyone. Well, earlier this week, we did a story about the emerald ash borer, a beetle that's an invasive species in our area. And you might remember the joke about the purple prisms, but I heard back from some viewers on it, and Andrew and I here thought we better get an expert in on this. So joining us today is Jerry Carlson. Jerry is a research entomologist, commonly referred to as a bug guy, with the DEC. So welcome, Jerry.
Thanks. Great to be here.
How do you like that technical description, bug guy?
Oh, well, I get it all the time.
I bet you do. You're an expert. You've been involved with DEC, you were telling me, for a better part of 20 years, right?
No, just 15 years.
Oh, 15. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. In my world, that goes by really
Okay.
quickly. So tell me a bit about your background. What interests you in this topic?
Well, the reason I applied for and was successful on this job was because New York State is the center, really, in the planet for arrivals of exotic invasive species. There is nowhere else on the planet that gets as many exotic invasive organisms arrive here yearly. That's basically because of the Port of New York and the fact that when things come in through the Port of New York, there are so many people within a 24-hour truck drive of New York City that it's almost instantly dispersed. So it's very hard to keep track of, a huge volume of material, both personal material, people that are arriving as immigrants or coming back from vacation, and of course commercial goods and services that arrive and then they're immediately dispersed to industrial zones, to Wisconsin, to North Carolina, to Maine, you know.
Sure, all over the country,
all over the
right?
place, yeah.
You know, I want to cycle back on that for a second. The center of the universe.
Well, the planet, anyway.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, sorry. I meant to say the center of the planet.
Yeah.
That's remarkable. Now, in terms of the emerald ash borer, how did that get into our region?
Well, we don't know exactly because we can't find the smoking gun, so to speak, but the first known locations were in Detroit and Windsor, which are on the St. Lawrence Seaway, which is a prized movement for industrial supply. And we also know that some solid wood packaging of the materials that arrived in the U.S. from Asian countries, exporting countries, had emerald ash borer life stages in it. So the assumption is that somebody bought some steel or something from China or a neighboring country, and it arrived with the emerald ash borer. It left that solid wood and started attacking the local ash trees.
And you first noticed this when?
Well, the USDA Forest Service and the state of Michigan first noticed it in 2002, and also that was coincidental with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency noticing it in Windsor, which is across the lake from Detroit. So they both noticed it in 2002, and they started a campaign to try to eradicate it then, but it had already been there for at least 10 years, maybe longer.
Wow.
So there were too many trees that were attacked by it.
Right.
Part of the problem with ash trees is that it was a highly prized urban tree, street tree, and so there were a lot of ash in decline normally, you know, damage from the roofs, from trucks, those kinds of things. So people didn't really notice that there was a new source of decline of the ash until 2002.
You know, one other thing, we tend to think that as human beings we dominate the planet. Far from it. You know, these species are amazingly prolific, proficient at surviving, and you were saying before how rapidly they increase their population.
Well, some of them, yeah. Well, when they arrive here, they don't come with their normal guild, if you will, of parasites and predators that feed on them. The other thing is that our native parasites and predators, they don't recognize it as a potential food source. It takes a long time, decades or maybe even more, before our native things will start to feed on it. Even the birds, you know, you don't want to feed on something you don't recognize because, like picking the wrong mushroom, it might kill you.
Yes, okay.
I think the birds are probably similar to that. So they don't have that natural control, and every female lays 50 to 150 eggs, depending on her nutrition. And in a native Eurasian environment, 99% of those or more will die. They won't be successful. But here, even if we have just 25 or 30% survive, we could be ankle deep in ash borers very quickly. So they're orders of magnitude larger numbers are produced every family cycle here than in their native environment.
I made mention before of the purple prisms, and of course we were joking about it here, as a lot of people do. But there is really a science to this purple prism, correct? What is that about?
Well, there is a science. As if you look at an emerald ash borer, or go to our site and look at it, you'll see that the eyes are a very obvious dominant part of their head, and so they have a very good ability to see their environment. So emerald ash borers are probably able to easily see an ash tree and recognize an ash tree, and part of the reflectance spectrum that's emitted from ash trees is that particular purple color. So we know that they're oriented to that purple color, and so we make our traps of that purple color, and it gives us a better opportunity to catch them. We also know now that there's a green hue that is very effective at orienting the beetles too, and so we use green traps now too.
Now, when they're trapped, similar to a fly paper or something, is there a sticky substance or something?
The traps are coated with sticky stuff or stickum, and when they land on it, they can't get
Is there a fragrance or something like that?
There is also an attractant. We bait those traps with the same smells of sick or dying ash trees, so that the beetles we know are oriented towards ash trees that have a lower probability of fighting them off, and so that's the smell that we bait those traps with.
You know, some things that I'm sure you're feeling the same way. You tend to notice these things a little after the fact, so the beetles themselves are getting more and more well established. There's some things that we can do, because this could continue to be quite a problem for us, right? A major problem for us. Go out and look at the trees.
Look at the trees, and not only look at the trees, but identify what's a healthy tree and what's a not so healthy tree. Look at the annual foliage that's coming. The oak trees, you know, are the leaves nice and big and green and full, or are they sort of pale green, and are there dead branches on the tree? And the maples, or the Christmas trees, the conifers, are they all looking the same? Can you see through them now where you never used to be able to see through them? Those kinds of things are really important to us, and we can't look at all of them. I mean, there's 1 billion ash trees alone in the state, let alone maples and oaks and all the other ones. So
I got you. And you can take a picture and send it to the DEC, right?
Right. We have Forest Health at dec.ny.gov, which is a website. You know, it's a email address that you can send us pictures to, and we'll get to them.
You know what? I Googled it right away. I just did DEC New York State, and from there you can get access to any of the particular websites. There is a phone number. It's a local phone number, same area code, 518-402-9425. 402-9425. Call them if you see anything suspicious. You know, containing the population is incredibly important. As I said, they proliferate pretty easily, right?
Oh, it's tremendous, right?
Yeah,
and people move them around all the time. That's why we have emerald ash borer here in Saratoga now, because somebody moved it up from down south or from the west.
You know what? We're going to have Jerry back again on Beyond the Headlines, so that we can get into this in much more detail. He's so knowledgeable. I'm telling you, before we went on air today in the interview, when we did the pre-interview, I couldn't take enough notes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, but Jerry, thank you very much for coming in. And once again, look for the signs. Go on the website, take a good look at what this beetle looks like. It's less than an inch long. Gorgeous creature, by the way, but also very, very damaging in a very serious way. And call that number, 402-9425, if you suspect in any of the ash tree population that we have that you're noticing any deterioration, right? Great. Jerry, thanks very much for coming in. Look forward to having you back again.
Pleasure.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.